Alright, we good. Alright, what's going on, family? Check in. Alright, it's your boy, Ken Stevens. We in here. Well, your man, your king. Alright, we in here today for the BLK Agenda. I know from a few people that's on Facebook, it's been a little while before, we've been up in this thing, but we are back now. And we will be talking about systemic racism today. But before we go into that, all right, and this topic, I know it's a real sensitive topic, but when we are talking about this, all right, keep in mind that we know a system that's been pitted against all of us. Even our own family has been pitted against us as well in society. And there's certain things we just can't control, but we have to understand that everything started with us governing ourselves at a higher level first. All right, but we do have to know our history. All right, so it doesn't repeat itself, and it's something you shouldn't be ashamed to talk about, and it's something that has to be talked about because, like they say, you don't know the history, you are doomed to repeat it, and a lot of people, I think, are missing that point nowadays because it's kind of like, these little whispers, people don't really talk about touchy subjects because it's an uncomfortable conversation, and it has to be uncomfortable. It's not something, it was uncomfortable for the people that went through these circumstances back in history. So to have just a conversation, we have to level up our emotional intelligence and do things like this, all right? Because we need more people that are speaking out. We need more people that are allies with one another, more people that are willing to talk about these topics that, don't lend well to this whole entire agenda of what the government or different people may have you, all right, out there that's going on. All right, so you have to really understand what's at play, and we got to talk about it. So it's one of those hard topics we got to talk about, and it's perfectly fine. Hey, if you ain't for the truth, you might want to log out right now. All right. All right, we're good. All right. So I was supposed to have a guest as well before we get started, Corey, but he had some situation that was going on. All right, because it's been more of a dialogue, Corey Blackwell, but it's perfectly fine. Family first, and I hope everything is all well with him. But I still wanted to get this lesson in. All right. So to start off, all right, there'll be 3 key points that I'll be driving home about systemic racism, all right, and how it has worked this way, and it's still working this way through the black community and just the world in general, all right. So our first one we got is the criminal justice system, all right. So we all know somebody that's probably been locked up at some point in their life, or they had a system that was pitted against them, maybe for their own wrongdoing, or maybe it was falsely convicted. Now, we have this thing where you have a lot of people fitting the description. And most of the people that fit this description are people of color, and it's something that's been plaguing the black community, even if you are the most upstanding citizen and whatnot. I've had a friend who was in high school, all right, who was fitting the description, and he was waiting at the bus stop to go to school, and he was taken to jail at 7 in the morning before going to school, just because you fit the description. That's something that don't live well, because now you have this psychological effect on our youth, all right, someone in that nature that could perpetuate this same system and be like, okay, I feel like I'm against the police. I feel like I'm against the government. They want to stick their middle finger. They don't want to be a part of, what's going on or the greater good just because of their experience that has happened to them with the criminal justice system. But just to give you some quick hitters of facts, all right. So the criminal justice system, you got 20% longer sentences for people of color. The criminal justice system is much harsher to people of color. We all know that. It's a simple stated fact. We've seen side-by-side examples with different judges, with the same cases, with the same charges that were pitted against somebody, but it was lesser time that was administered. All right. Now, we know that that's not something that's by mistake. All right. And I'm going to go a little bit further into it, all right, on our next statistic that we have. All right, so, and they're 20% more likely to be convicted as well if you are black. Now, the last one, as far as criminal justice goes, all right, now, for the African-American community, black community, the movement, whatever you want to call it, all right, we only make up 13% of the population total, all right, in the U.S., but 40% of our population is incarcerated, all right, and a lot of people are saying the criminal justice system is a broken system. The criminal justice system is not a broken system. It's a system that is working very well, because you don't get landslide numbers like this without the system being put in place for it to work. All right, it's almost like automation if you have a business. All right, if you have something that's set up to talk to different people, then it's going to happen. You're going to get sales and things of that nature. And that's what's happening with our criminal justice system. And a lot of people do not recognize that and how it is affecting our community, on a strategic level. not just the media and how they portray it, but on a strategic level that's behind the doors and how the mathematics are going into the criminal justice system. All right. Now the next one, this will be a little bit more historic, but it still is relevant today. All right, housing. All right, with housing, there's a thing called redlining. All right, I'm sure at this point, more people may be aware of it due to this great awakening, and I'm very happy about it, what has been going on during COVID. I call it the Black Renaissance that we're going through. We in history right now, but we're literally living in the history. So there was this thing called redlining. So they literally basically made a red line on a map. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, this might have been in the 30s, maybe the 40s or something. I can't remember the exact time period, but it was in U.S. history, called redlining, where black people were literally lined off for going to different sections or buying homes in those sections, or the prices were jacked up, all right, due to black people wanting to move into those neighborhoods. And if they did go into a good neighborhood, they would automatically jack the price up to the point where a black family probably couldn't afford it. And if they did get into those communities, you already know what happened. They had a lot of racism pitted against them. They probably had death threats, things of that nature, houses caught on fire. So redlining, that was one of the historic things that we're dealing with the housing market. All right, now one extra point, all right. Right now, still even today, 70% of home ownership is dominated by white people, all right? And only 42% are black homeowners right now. And that is a direct correlation for what was going on in history as well. And there was different land grants that weren't offered to black people as well. But that's a whole separate conversation that goes with, the housing market and how it was affected by redlining that a lot of people don't like to highlight for some odd reason. All right. Now, the last one that I'll harp on, all right, is number 3. This will be education. All right. So without education, all right, a lot of people, they get this misconception that our kids are dumb, they don't know anything, or they're miseducated. It's not really that. They're giving instruction that doesn't lend well to black people, black families. All right, because the curriculums, even I'm a school teacher, so I know this. All right, even with the curriculums, there are Eurocentric ideologies. All right, so if you don't know what Eurocentrism is, that's basically making, if you are white or of European descent, you are literally the standard, all right, to which things will be set. And the example that I could give, the biggest example that I could give is with women. All right, so before women, got hip to wearing their natural hair and things of that nature, they would try to hurry up, perm their hair, different things of that nature, so they could have the look. That is what Eurocentrism does to your community of people, because you have to fit that, that stereotype, so that you could get your foot in the door, so that you could talk to different people. All right, that's what Eurocentrism does. All right, and that ideology. Now, even to go even further into the education system with Eurocentrism, our kids are taught about all 50 states in America. We're taught about all the presidents and things of that nature. But then we don't find out about Mansa Musa until they're probably in the 11th grade. And that's not by mistake, that's by design. All right, but that is something that should be taught, and ingrained in our children at such a young age. They know their history, they know where they come from, they know about the people that came before them that have the same skin color as them, and that they don't gain a sense of superiority, but they do gain a sense of pride in being black. Because even for myself as a child, there was times when I was in elementary school and I would wonder, I wish I was white, just by the privilege that some white people had and how they were treated in school. Like, they were a little bit softer on them about discipline and things of that nature. And even to take it a step further, when I was in 5th grade, I had a substitute teacher in one of my classes, and the substitute was black. My main teacher who would be there, he was a white man. I got into a fight that day when we had a substitute with the black substitute. And when the teacher came back and the principal, they were trying to figure out, they literally questioned me as a 5th grader, asking me, we're trying to figure out why you got into this fight with him while I wasn't here. We're trying to figure out if it's because he was black. And that was something that was very odd to me, because I was like, what does the skin color got to do with anything that happened with a fight between 2 young kids? And I'm conceptualizing this at a young age. And that's part of that systemic racism that goes on in there. Somebody questioning you with something that has no value to your skin color. That was something that was no correlation, or something that could be asked in the school system. And as well, through the school system and different things of that nature, we got, we talked about the curriculum, but with the Eurocentric curriculum that is being put out, there is not enough curriculum that is in place for people of color. So the biggest example that I could give you and this will sum it all up with that education and curriculum, is that you have in place U.S. history, we have world history, you have European history, AP, you have French history, you got all type of histories, and they're Eurocentric. But these are the type of things that are required in school systems. And you know what the elective is of a history? Can y'all guess what the elective that you have in the public school system that are elective for history? If anybody could guess that, what's the elective for history? Because I know y'all probably gonna hit it right on the head, which is the elective for history. Remember what I said, U.S. history, world history, and things of that nature, they're required. They're required by your school system. And then we have an education separate of history that is not required. It's an elective, so you can elect to take it.
African American Studies.
Yes, African American Studies. So you cannot tell me that it's 2020 and we still have in place that African American Studies are an elective, but we have world history, we got European history, we got French history, we got World War classes, everything in between. But African American history is something that is an elective and it's not required. I don't know how you're going to beat an education system that lends well to systemic racism if you are not implementing a system for our young people to see themselves in books. And I made a joke a few weeks back, and it was a meme where he had a white guy who was wearing like Egyptian garments and headgear. And it was like, and somebody said, this was really on page 10 in our textbook. There's a white guy with blonde hair, blue eyes, but he had on an Egyptian like cloth. So that tells you right there, even in our textbooks, they are lying to us. And some of these textbooks that you get, if you read the old textbooks, they have lies in them as well. All right, that don't lend well to what we're trying to get done with people of color. And this is not nothing that's opinionated. This is all facts, and this is my story and experiences through this. All right, because it's not something that I want to come on here and just harp on it. I'm not a person that really talks about systemic racism because it's not something that lends well to the Black agenda or lends well to our Black community, because it almost sounds like we're complaining. And I am a person who promotes educating and empowering and doing for self. All right, because that is the only way we can get up out of this pit. Because if we want, the thing that I was taught in 11th grade, this was by one of my teachers. He was white, Mr. Simmons. I will forever thank this man for this. He was my English teacher. I was in his class. He was my English teacher for English 3. So I was a junior in high school. And his class was really hard. Like, it was harder than college classes. And it was English. And I went to him one day. I was like, I can't wait to be out of your class. Like, this is tough. And then he was like, oh, you got to take me next year for English 4 AP. You can't go down the level. I said, nah. And you know what this man told me? And I've never had heard, nobody of color tell me this. This is a white man told me this. It's straight up in my face. He said, if you don't like the system, find a way to beat it. And that is when my life changed, when he told me that. Because when he told me to find a way to beat a system, you know what I did? I was like, okay, I'm a 3.5 GPA student. I've taken my ACT, right? So after all of that has happened, I went into dual enrollment. So over the summer, I took a 6-week course on English at a college. It was way easier, and I did it in 6 weeks. I didn't have to do it in 18 weeks. Got it out the way, so as soon as we got back in the fall, he looking for me in his class. I found a way to beat the system. I told him I took your advice. All right, so that is how you can educate your child, all right, yourself. That is something that is available to us. And a lot of people, they don't have the time, but you have to make that sacrifice if you plan on beating the system. It's each one teach one, each one reach one, all right? But I'll be open for questions right now if we have any so far.
No, basically comments. Everybody had little to no knowledge of Black history in school. Mm-hmm. And then German said that she always wanted locks, but she was afraid of getting denied the job because of it.
Okay. But with jobs and things of that nature, and not knowing little about Black history, it's set up that way. But like the biggest example that I can give right now, anybody can attest to this, and this has to be weird, all right, to a fault. You have kids, Black kids in America, that can name 50 states and probably the capitals too, but they cannot name one country in Africa. That's insanity. A place where there's a lot of people that look like them. not just, they don't have to be African descent, but they can't even name a country over there. They can name European countries like the back of their hand as well. But we could go there, taking that step further, but they cannot name countries in Africa. And you got our kids, they name it, they call it Africa a country. What's up? All right, do you know about peonage and this history? Keith, you talking about peonage? The only peonage that I know about in our history right now is death peonage. I know back in the day, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on this, but with death peonage, it was literally back in history. I want to say it was after they basically freed, all right, as slaves. But the way they got them back into slavery was that they set up these laws that don't lend well to people that were free. All right, so there was laws that happened where you'll see the signs if you go to a corner store anywhere right now. Literally, the law is still there. It's called loitering. All right, so they created the law called loitering. This goes back to that systemic racism. All right, back then. So there was loitering. All right, that law was created to literally lock up black people that were free. Literally, that's all the law was meant to do. Because when the slaves were freed, they put in loitering as a law. If you did not have a job and you're walking around, you could get arrested. And now when you get arrested, you're going to be put in jail. And then you're going to have, they had a system called convict lease system. With the convict lease system, they literally leased out people that were convicted of crimes. All right, so that's my piece of knowledge that I kind of know about the death peonage and things of that nature. All right, we got another question.
How can we update the education system?
All right, how can we update the education system? My biggest thing about the education system, I'm kind of to the point where I don't want to fight with people. It's either like Farrakhan and Elijah Muhammad, I believe is one of them say, it's a separation of death. That's how I see it as far as the black education. We got to take a stronghold within our own households to get this thing down pat. We can't rely on a system that was not made for us and that doesn't lend well to what we're learning about. All right, there's no way our kids are learning about Napoleon, but we don't learn about Mansa Musa. It's an elective for you to learn about Mansa Musa, but you know about Napoleon, all his great triumphs, all the people that he slaughtered. So you have to create your own curriculum for your household. You have to take control for your household. And it's not something that has to be astronomical as a school system. It could be a lesson a day, a lesson a week that you implement into your household. Turn off the TVs, all right? Turn off the YouTube, turn off the, the social media for just a bit and put time aside so you can actually teach your kids. And first of all, you have to teach yourself as well, because a lot of people are missing that point. You can't go out here and think that some system is going to save you. There is no hoodoo voodoo for teaching our kids. We have to take the system back ourselves and get this thing done, because nobody's going to do it for you. And one thing that you have to realize is that nobody's going to care about you as much as you care about yourself. So if you were trying to fight a system that's not created for you, you think they really going to care about your feelings? They'll be like, well, damn, if you don't like the way we do it, then go find your way to do it. And that's how I see it, my personal opinion.
Do you believe there's a way to build a school for children of color only?
Do I believe there's a way to build a school for children of color only? I believe there is a way. Now, it'll be very hard to do that. I would say it will have to be a private school. It will have to be privately funded. It will have to be privately ran as well, so that you can get around probably that. That's my piece on it, because I never really thought about that. But I could say you start your own. You don't have to necessarily start your own school. You can start your own curriculum where you educate our kids that are black. You don't have to have a school to start out. You could just literally, get a group of kids and teach them. Get certified in teaching, or get certified to teach homeschool, and go do your thing. You don't have to make it rocket science when it's coming to educating our kids or giving them the education that they deserve and they need, because they need that representation. All right, we got more.
As the diversity club sponsor at a predominantly white school and only black teacher there, how do you make a statement about how the 9% of students of color on campus may feel about systemic racism?
So how do you make a point about it?
Statement.
How do you make a statement about it? Your statement would be leaving, if you ask me, because obviously the things are stacked against you, And the thing that I had to learn is you don't have to be that sacrificial lamb for a system that don't lend well to you if there is something like that going on. Because they're going to have to find somebody to fill that space. Representation does matter, you know, and I get where you're coming from. I totally get it. But you have to go to a system that lends well to you and people that you can touch. I would never work outside of a Title I school. And with Title I schools, those are schools that are primarily Latino and they're blacks. All right, I would never work outside of a Title I school as a teacher because the schools outside of that, they're predominantly white. They don't lend well to my personality. They don't lend well to my culture. They don't lend well to my vernacular. They don't lend well to what I got going on.
Give them the example when you ask the girl her age.
Oh yeah, and I was at a non-Title I school before, and you know, the way you interact with people at a level when they're white, young, white, old, whatever it may be, when you have a way of doing things, they don't understand it. And I wouldn't want to put myself in an environment like that. I would go to an environment where I could uplift the people that are already there and the people that I'm trying to uplift. I'm not going to fight a tireless fight and be a sacrificial lamb. That's just not something I'm willing to do. And I've been in that situation before at it was a predominantly white school, and where, you know, I had a conversation with one of the APs, and I told this story before where she never really talked to me, but we got on the topic of dogs because I have a dog, she had a dog, and I was telling her about different things about breeding, and then we started talking about me being in grad school during that time, and she looked at me and was like, wow, you do have, you know, something up under all that hair because of my locks. And I was like, hold on. I'm sitting there like, you know, my emotional intelligence kicked in because I have self-awareness. I understand what I look like to people. I know what I might come off as to people. But when you open your mouth, it's a different story. And her saying that, I was just like, wow, that's the ignorance that happens. You know, not minding what you were saying and how it could come off to someone. And that was something that I went through, and this was at a school that was predominantly white. Why would I put myself in a situation like that? I want to be around my black educators. I want to be around my black students. I want to be around my Latino students. I resonate with them more because they're going through the same things that I might have went through in high school, or I'm currently going through, because we have students out there that are, you know, they might be 16, 17, but their mentality is 27, 30 years old, because what they got to do, they just get up in the morning and make it.
Previous question, do you think homeschooling would be wise?
Homeschooling would be very wise. I 100% promote homeschooling. It's not too hard to get into. You just got to go through a system. I believe homeschooling would be the best way to go about it now, but on the flip side, people are worried about the social factor of being homeschooled. If you have a social parent and you have a social life outside of school, you will be fine. And when you do homeschooling, you can still go to a high school, play sports, be in a band and things of that nature. You just get homeschooling. All right, because I've been in a classroom with homeschool kids. It was due to ACT and SAT testing. So they had to literally come to a school campus to do that. And these kids were perfectly fine. They said, yeah, we're all good. We could do everything that we need to do. We're not socially awkward. We love actually being at home, you know, learning in our own environment. And then we go out and be social. They feel like they're not missing out on anything as well.
Does it concern you about people who may say, yes, systemic racism exists, but we should be able to move past it?
Move past it? No, that don't bother me. That doesn't bother me at all, to be honest, because it is something that we have to move past. Now, the caveat to that is we cannot forget it, and we kind of have a conversation about it, though. So we can't just sit up here and act like it doesn't exist. But yes, we could definitely move past it. You take action to make things happen, and it's just like the business idea I tell everybody. If you want a successful business or something of that nature, all you have to do is find a void and fill it. And if you are in that space where you're thinking about that, find that void, fill it in the education.
Do you feel it's possible to implement culturally sustaining pedagogies at a predominantly white school?
If you are going to stay at a predominantly white school and try to put in culturally relevant content, curriculum, and things of that nature, I would say you're going to have to use the students. That is be my thing, because you could be an adult and, you know, they try to put us in a box, especially if you're at a predominantly white school. So you would have to get the students behind you to get this done, because if you don't, it's just you being that one voice. But if you are that voice and you have the students behind you, it's no way you could lose, because now you have the masses behind you talking about that they want this system in place. If it's just you, they might think it's a special interest. But if you have the masses behind you, it's for their best interest. All right, we got another question. All right, so if you don't have any questions, we ain't did a little giveaway in a minute. How many we got on there?
9 and 7.
All right. So with all this talk about education, it kind of rolled right along to something that I've been cooking up. I know I've been kind of distant to my Facebook people. I'm getting back on it. All right, my phone was broken for a couple weeks, but in the works of all that happening, I was able to create a product that can fill that void of education. I know there's a lot of people out there that talks about our kids not being educated about money, all right, and not knowing different things about, the stock market, capital, what selling is, what credit is, and things of that nature. That's something else that a lot of people want to talk about. So when I saw that void, it started in the summer with my nieces, all right, because they were with me, and I noticed that they're operating at kind of a low frequency, and we started to write together and write down different words that lend well to the economy and things of that nature. And then that was the birth of what I have here with my Think and Learn Like an Entrepreneur flashcards. All right, this is new to the BLK Agenda and the KFJ Scholarship Fund. We have the Think and Learn Like an Entrepreneur flashcards. All right, right here, the Think and Learn Like an Entrepreneur flashcards. All right, now this is where you will be able to get with your kids. It's very simple, and even adults have pre-ordered some of the packages with me because they want them from themselves. All right, this will eliminate that void of us trying to play catch up essentially as far as the economy goes, as far as learning about the economy. All right, and it's down to a basic level. You have the words on the front and you have your definitions on the back. All right, and just to give you an example of it, because just to pull them out. The first thing, because I'm a person that believes in goal setting, the first 14 cards are all about affirmations or goal setting. You can put on the 14 cards. You can write directly on them, the first 14 cards. All right, but after that, you go into things that lend well to business, and just a random card, you got financial advisor. What is a financial advisor? All right, what is income? All right, what is goal setting? Just things that lend well to, just a person growing up. What is an entrepreneur? I didn't learn about entrepreneurship like in its fullness until I was in my 20s. I mean, I've done entrepreneurship when I was in middle school selling candy, but to understand what you are doing and how you can grow with that system and that knowledge is, it's priceless, in my opinion. Because if I knew what I knew now when I was, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, it was ingrained in me, learning about money would be second nature, all right? And it would kill this whole mentality of scared money don't make no money. Because I tell a lot of people this, they're like, scared money don't make no money, go get that, blah, blah, this and that. I'm like, yeah, I get what you're saying about scared money don't make no money, but your money is only scary if you abuse it. And that's what a lot of us have been doing, and we have been taught, taking these loans from the bank to start a business, taking loans to just take a trip, just different things of that nature, because no one has taught us different. Running up credit cards. I know myself, I was in college. Wells Fargo, they dropped that $900 on the credit card, and I'm like, they know I play football. I ain't got no job. What was they trying to do, giving me $900 in credit? Run the card up, don't know about the percentages of using the card and different things of that nature. So this would be something that's definitely filling that void and getting our people right. All right, but as a giveaway, I will give away one of these boxes of cards. All right, I will be giving away one of these boxes of cards. All right, so I can't do a question about the content because I've been kind of absent with my Facebook people. All right, but I'll give away one of the boxes of the Think Like an Entrepreneur flashcards. Would y'all like that? Y'all let me know. Would y'all like that to someone be giving away one of the boxes of cards? They are in pre-order. You can go to blackagenda.com and go to the products and services portion and go on there and pre-order your package. They'll be here next week, and I'll be shipping them out as soon as I get them. All right, just let me know. So let's see our question. All right, what question can we do for this one? Because I went gone. You're going to have to be a person. I can't give them that one from a person right from the beginning. I would say if you could name, I'm going to make it hard for y'all, I ain't going to lie. All right, if you could name the 5 pillars of the Black Agenda, the 5 pillars of the Black Agenda. This is not going to be easy. All right, if you could name the 5 pillars of the Black Agenda, if you could name all 5 of them, all right, you can name all 5 pillars. Is if you've been riding with it, you know where I've been at. You'll be able to get that thing right off back. We should be looking
for the flashcards.
If you want them flashcards, all right, we gonna see who come up with it first. Don't jump off the live now and try to go researching. Y'all got a second phone. All right, if you just joined, we doing.
Marky says she knows.
Marky, she definitely knows. Marky is the Black Agenda. And if y'all don't know, Marky, her name Marky Murphy, she was the graphic designer that put this whole project together. I brought the idea to her, and she brought the idea to life. So Marky Murphy, you can find her on Facebook, or you can find her on Instagram at Marky Murphy. She's a graphic designer. She does websites, logos, everything you need. One-stop shop.
I think you're going to have to make the question easier. Oh, wait.
What we got?
Symbolize, mobilize, eliminate, cultivate, develop.
All right.
Definitely got a second.
Who that is?
Stimula?
Who?
Stimulate my mind. Sorry.
Stimulate my mind. Oh, okay. Yeah. She got it. All right.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. She went to FAU with me. I remember her. Yeah, so, all right. So we do have our giveaway. Let's stimulate my mind. We will be sending you out this package soon as we get them. Make sure you DM me with your name, your address, so I can get it out to you. And just when you get this, just give me a review. Let me know how it is, all right? Because we're still in our beta phase with this product. But I wanted to get this product out. School starts back tomorrow, brick and mortar, so teachers will be on campus in some counties. And this is one way we can kind of defeat what's going on in the system, all right? But if we don't have any more questions, we'll be out. Let me know if y'all have any questions, all right, before we get up out of here. No questions, we good? I'm gonna give a couple seconds because I know it's a lag.
No, you're good. They're congratulating her.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right, so before we go, I just want to let you know, all right, you are wealthy, you are valued, and you are worthy. Y'all have a good night.